Diamonds are the hardest natural material on Earth. They form deep underground under intense pressure. That's why they are so special.
You hold a small clear stone up to the light. It catches the light and throws it back in tiny fractured colors. It feels ancient. It feels rare. For nearly 100 years, one company decided exactly how rare it was allowed to feel. Not nature. A company controlling roughly 80 to 90% of the world's rough diamond supply by the 1980s, shaping what almost every engagement on Earth would cost. How does a business end up owning the meaning of forever? Rewind to 1866. A boy near the Orange River in southern Africa picks up a heavy pebble. It turns out to be a 21-carat diamond, carat being the unit used to weigh a gemstone, roughly 200 milligrams. Word spreads. Soon thousands of prospectors dig by hand in a patch of land called Kimberley. Picture that scene. Dust, heat, men on their knees with picks and sieves, clawing through red earth. Chaotic, unregulated. About to make one young Englishman extraordinarily powerful. His name is Cecil Rhodes. Rhodes arrives in Kimberley in the 1870s, a sickly teenager sent there for his health. He does not dig himself. He buys claims from diggers who are exhausted or in debt, consolidating them. By 1888, he folds his holdings into one company, De Beers Consolidated Mines. Rhodes understood what the other diggers never did. A diamond is only precious if it stays scarce. Flood the market and the price collapses. So he set out to control the entire supply, from ground to buyer. Did that plan work? For almost a century, yes. De Beers built a cartel, a group that controls a market by limiting supply and fixing prices. Through the 20th century, most of the world's rough diamonds from Africa, Russia, Australia, quietly flowed through its central selling organization in London. De Beers bought diamonds it did not even own, just to keep them off the open market. A new mine threatening to flood supply simply got absorbed into the vault. The company was not just selling diamonds, it was managing the planet's entire supply. Under Ernest Oppenheimer, who took control in the 1920s, and later his son Harry, this strategy sharpened into a near-global monopoly. When Soviet Russia discovered massive deposits in Siberia in the 1950s, a find that could have shattered De Beers' control, the company quietly funneled those stones through its own channel too. Controlling supply was only half the plan. The world still needed to want diamonds badly enough to pay whatever price the cartel decided. So, in 1938, De Beers hired an American ad agency, N.W. Ayer, to sell an idea. In 1947, a young copywriter there wrote 4 words that rewired an entire culture's relationship to love. A diamond is forever. Before that campaign, diamond rings were common among the wealthy, but far from universal. Within a generation, they became close to an unspoken rule. Ayer placed diamonds in Hollywood films and magazines, and floated a rule that a groom should spend 2 months' salary on the ring. That number was invented. It was marketing, dressed up as tradition. Picture a young couple in a jewelry store in the 1950s, decades after Rhodes started buying claims in Kimberley. They believe they are choosing something timeless. Unaware they stand at the end of a chain stretching back to a mining company, a London stockpile, and a slogan engineered to feel eternal. Here is the twist almost no one expects. Diamonds were never actually rare. Geologically, gem-quality diamonds are more common than the price tag suggests. The scarcity was manufactured through hoarding, buyouts, and tightly controlled release. You were not paying for the stone. You were paying for the illusion that it was one of very few like it. So why did the empire eventually crack? Starting in the 1990s, new mines opened in Canada and Australia, outside De Beers' reach. Diamonds funding civil wars in Sierra Leone and Angola drew outrage, leading to the Kimberley process in 2003, a certification keeping so-called blood diamonds out of the market. Around the same time, U.S. regulators pursued De Beers for decades of price fixing, forcing a 2004 settlement. The quiet control over nearly every stone on Earth began slipping away. Now, a newer disruption is finishing the job. Labs can grow a chemically identical diamond in weeks instead of a billion years, at a fraction of the price. The company that once policed scarcity by hoarding stones now competes to sell lab-grown ones. So, think again about that stone catching the light in your hand. Its sparkle has not changed since it formed, sometimes over 1 billion years ago. under enormous heat and pressure. What changed is everything humans decided it meant. Not just love or forever. Money. Power. A slogan built to outlive the men who wrote it. You hold a small, clear stone up to the light. It still catches the light and throws it back in tiny, fractured colors. But now, you know exactly whose hands decided how rare, how expensive, and how eternal it was allowed to feel.
Subscribe and like my channel.